Hello there. Today was a really good day. A day of a lot of reflection on what I've done throughout this past week, and I also I I reviewed the SOPs that I built, and well now it's way more systemized according to what I've learned. Of course, no, the map's not the territory. Things will happen. Might not be like the way that imagine that's gonna be. So there's that. But I I just know that having systems is better than not having systems, And I had more time, to meditate. Even though I just did one session, but like was a really good session. And I think the peak point of today was I took some time to listen to a podcast of David Goggins, so you can imagine. I remember the first time that I listened to him, like a podcast, and that was I don't know 1 2 years ago, and I was just completely shocked, like surprised, on how about everything he said because back then I didn't understand quite well. Even now, like I understand better than before the first time that compared to the first time that I listened. But like now makes more sense, It's a lot of things, but the main shit is it's more about like verb, like doing. It's not so much about conceptual shit, like understand, like just do because you already know what you're supposed to do, right? And like listen to him saying that, that especially one thing that he said, like you gotta do you, like the motivation gotta come from you, you know, uh, because no, it's temporary, all that shit like it's temporary. Like you listen to a music, it's one thing, you listen to a video, like soon you're gonna forget, but like what you do, like that's that creates proof, you know, proof that you're really what you say you are, you know, that creates identity, and like for me that's a big project, like I put as a title of a video like the big project that is like meditation, like enlightenment and things like that, and that's about like self development, even though like this word is very misused, but for me like this identity, like this man that I want to become, you know that like being that is something that no one can say shit like regardless, because we waste so much energy like on like what other people think about us, even though like they don't give a shit about us, and like we don't give a fuck about them. What we do give a fuck is our ego, you know but that's just it, and you know especially the thing of people, average people, that just don't do shit, always complain, and you know why care about that, and after listening to him, like it became way more clear for me what I want, and how this is gonna be. It's gonna be like sucks, it just sucks, like he said, like it just sucks, and like just 1 year, I can say like 1 year. I spent like 1 year alone basically. Even though like I might be like living with my dad or some like during this 1 year like I talk with some friends of mine, but alone, like they don't understand, because they're not doing what I'm doing. They're not going through the things that I'm going through, so they can't understand. you know. And I was with this shit like because it's very natural for us, to seek external approval because back then we used to live like in tribes, so like you must belong, otherwise you're gonna die. But like now, it's not like that anymore, right? It's not like that anymore. So um, this idea of always looking for feedback from the outside, feedback from others, it's just like you rely completely on somebody else, to have motivation to do something, and to like just oh no, just to see for doing it right. You always look for external validation from others. Like that's a shot in the foot, on the foot. Like self sabotage is what they say, but it's just you're fucked. Like if that's the case, you're fucked because you rely on somebody else to do the thing. You're just fucked. But like once you stop caring about what others, like what the world, fuck them, because when you know who you truly are, then nothing else matters. Like the others, like it's just noise because you know like who you are, and like to know who you are, you must like undergo like a lot of shit. You must go through a lot of shit to really see who you are because once like if you're comfortable, like if you're in a good spot, it's easy, to say shit. But who you are when you're like in a stressful situation, who you are when you're like in a situation where you don't know the outcome, like that's when you really know like who you are. And he mentioned this thing of going to the dungeons and like really going to the dark place, to the cave, like that place, like in your mind, the thing, like your fears and things that you don't want to admit, like that you lie, you see to people that it is this, but it's not that. Like, and like once you face that, once like you acknowledge that and start working on that, then it's where you really begin to find yourself. And like for me, like it just like reminds me of the thing that I want to do, you know because like we always try to fit in. Say we like this thing, but like actually we don't, we hate. No, say we like that other thing, but like we don't, you know or deny something that we like. For what? For what? you know because I tried that. Like high school, I was trying to get along with everyone and like listen to like to music that I don't like, talk in a way that I don't feel comfortable with, like the thugs, the thug life. Like for what, Like now for me makes more sense, like makes way more sense, and like especially for me now because I'm 20 and like people of my age and like man, like even people like 10 years older than me, like it's just the same shit, like average, just average, just like a copy of a copy of a copy. And that reminds me of the Fight Club. But it's just a copy. And like I just don't see, the myself in it. And for me, it's getting more clear that this is gonna be a lonely path. Like, and like I was thinking that this would be like something brief, but no, probably it's gonna be like my whole life. But like this project, this becoming this guy, this man that can withstand anything. Like for me to become that, I have to go out for a lot of hard shit. And especially things that I don't want to do, because that's when I really develop that. You know, But after that, like I watch this video of Alex. He just uh, post recently. Like talking about this, like don't follow your passion because like there's always shit that you don't want to do, right? And like in the beginning, it's it's cool, but like after a while, it sucks. It just sucks, and that's when you really like. That's when it really counts. That reminds me of other things from Muhammad Ali. He said that he only started counting like the sit-ups once it started hurting. Like once it started hurting, that's when it really counts. When there's no pain. And I think that's the same thing here. Like if you have a goal, like if you want to get in shape, like anything, like regardless. The moment, like because in the beginning, like everyone is happy, everyone's motivated, but after that, after the dopamine it's gone, then you really see who's like really up to it, like who really wants that shit. Like if you really want that shit, like you don't need anything else. Like just like like just your desire for the outcome, that's already like enough. You don't need like music, you don't need someone like on your side saying like you can do this. No, like you just need you. No, and that's why, because I've done things that like it's hard. Like even like of course like going to the gym. If like doing this consistently, like and like always like improving, that's hard. Like especially being consistent. But I've done that, and like no one can take that away from me, even myself, because I've done that. I remember that. I did that. I recorded that. You know, and if someone comes to me and says some shit, no, like it doesn't matter because I know what I've done, and that's the biggest motivation of all. Because there's no way I can uh there's no way that I can just say that that's not true. You know, say that this claim is not true because I know it happened. Like once you have that, you don't need anything else. No, just you, like just your own achievements. That's more than enough. You are enough. And like man, like I think only like a like little like very small part of the population can understand this. Like just a small part of people can really understand this. Like it's just you and the activity, and you must do it regardless of how you feel. Like other thing that I watched from Alex, that no, because he's more like into business, but like it's hard, business it's hard, like entrepreneurship, like it's hard, it's just hard. And he said that it's more about the values, like the person he becomes while like building a business, because it's hard, you gotta develop a lot of skills, and you gotta be like you gotta go through like embarrassment. You must go through embarrassment, like be cringy, and like that develops character, and like the value, the value that he builds while like building the business. That's the real thing, like the real goal, like the person he becomes. So with that, like it's more about the craft, like uh, developing the craft of like having the values, and like developing the craft of like I can figure it out shit. I can learn, like regardless of what happened, I will figure it out. And like that craft of learn shit and like solve problems. That becomes the goal. Like regardless of the business, of the type of the business, regardless. No, that. becoming that guy, that version, that man that can just solve anything, you know, figured it out. That's the goal, you know. And I was like, shit, man, that's what I'm that's what I'm up to, you know. And I think like about the man that I want to become, and like I see that fuck, man, if that's if that's the guy that I want to become, I have to go through a lot of shit, you know. And like he provided a really good framework, like because if I stop now, like that guy, that version of me, you know, imagine like me being the guy and look at me, you know, that badass guy that really knows his shit and can like withstand anything and like can really solve anything. Imagine that guy looking at me right now, me like giving up just because it got harder. You know, like I would feel so ashamed. You know, like and no, it's just me, right? Like by the like I you know you can argue, you know, of course you came to life like there's your mom and like your maybe your dad, but the truth is like you you you're just that, you know, like you're alone, you know, you're alone. Your mom might be there, but like you're alone. You came to this world alone, and you're gonna go alone as well. So you must develop this relationship with yourself. You must, you know, you're like you are the product, like you are the project, you are the goal. Like for me now, that's becoming crystal clear of how this is gonna look like. You know, it's not gonna be funny. It's not gonna be pretty. It's gonna be ugly. But now I'm aware of that, and like once I compare that to the other path, you know, because I mentioned that already, but now it's even more certain. You know, that's what I'm gonna do. That's who I'm gonna become. It's not gonna be easy. It's not gonna be pretty. It's just gonna suck. It's just gonna suck. It's gonna be hard. But like, while I'm struggling, I'm becoming that guy. I'm learning shit, you know, and just the fact that I'm not being that other version, that weaker version, that's how already a motivation. Like the man that I want to become, the identity that I want to become, that's a motivation. That would be the carrot, the carrot, the carrot, and then like the stick would be the weaker version that I would become if I just stop and do nothing. So wait a minute. So it's clear for me now, and it's gonna be a solo journey. It's just me, and that's okay. No, like it was good like this 1 year, even though like I didn't make money, I learned a lot, and like I had like a preview, you know, I snipped of how the whole journey is gonna look like because this is for a lifetime, you know, like this development of me becoming like the man that I wanna be. This is a lifetime project, and that's the project that I'm gonna embrace, you know, regardless of others, you know. If someone, you know, comes along the way, like if I meet a woman, you know, that's fine, you know. But the main goal is this, you know. After that, it's secondary. At least that's my thinking right now. That's the way that I'm thinking right now. Things might change. I admit that. I'm not dumb. I know that things might change, but until that happens, that's the goal. That's me. Like, and even even like let's say, because this is something that I imagine, but for the future, like have a family, thing like that. Even then, like if I have a kid or something like that, I still need to develop like me to take care of the family. So this is a lifetime project, So that's what, like, it's really worth it. No, like all the fun, all the the fleeting pleasures, like along the way. Okay, that's fine. I like it. I'm not gonna lie. Lust and like drink and like parties, like it's cool. Like yeah, I admit that. Like it's cool. It's fun. But it's nothing compared to the real shit, like the real project that's developing me. That's the real shit. Like that's what really maybe that's the only thing that matters. You know, the quality of my life is like almost like direct dictate by the way that I perceive like my life. And also if I look at like in the mirror and like I look at something that I'm proud of, like that's enough, because that's the only thing that I have. It's my mind and me at the end of the day. So if I'm proud when I look at the mirror, uh, it's done. Like I'm no, I accomplish. Like all my activities is like in pursuit to that, to that realization, that outcome of like being proud when I look at the mirror, being proud about the things that I do daily, and like all the path, to that. So yeah, it's gonna be a really fun journey. But you know, I'm aware of like that's what I choose for my life. Become me, like become Daniel.Kastro. That's that's the goal. So yeah, was a really cool day today. It's not gonna be easy, but it's gonna be fun. No, not fun, but it's gonna be worth it. I'm gonna make myself proud, and that's the only man's pride that I want. Like the only person's pride in the whole humanity that I want, it's from myself. So yeah, man, it was a really cool day. That's it, man. Take care, and let's see how this next week is gonna go. Take care. Bye bye.